Good afternoon, dear participants. We are just waiting for one of the speakers to join us. So I request you to just be patient, and we will be starting this exciting sessions today. Dear participants, just please stay online for another 5 minutes. We have the one of these speakers who's not able to join us is just trying to log in. So just please be patient, and we will be starting the session soon. Thank you.
Hello.
Rifat,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
can you just not share your screen right now? Let me just introduce you so that then you can, share the start sharing your screen.
sure,
Okay,
sure.
thanks. Uh, a very warm welcome to all the participants to the second day of She Inspires webinar series co-organized by CSIO Chandigarh and INYAS. I am Dr. Amit Tuli, Principal Scientist at CSR Impact Chandigarh and an INYAS member. Today we will be having day 2 of this very exciting She Inspires webinar series, where we will be having talks by 3 female scientists who will be discussing their journey in the science and the struggles they faced and how they try to overcome all these challenges to have a career in science. Yesterday we had an amazing talks by 3 speakers, and they shared their journey into science and their current career. And I'm pretty sure many of the participants, especially girls students and researchers who joined us yesterday, had learned a lot from their stories, and they must have inspired them to have a career in science. For today, we have 3 speakers. First is one of the INYAS member, Dr. Riffat John from University of Kashmir. And then we will be having a second talk by Dr. Rishemjeet Kaur from CSIO Institute. And then a final talk by Dr. Neha Khatri, again from CSIR lab, CSIO Chandigarh. So for the first talk, let me introduce Dr. Riffat John. Uh, Dr. Riffat John, she's an assistant professor at University of Kashmir. As a plant molecular biologist, she is working to understand the environmental stress tolerance mechanisms in plants at proteomic, genomic, and metabolomic level, and at the same time genetically engineer plant genome to develop drought, salt, and cold tolerant transgenic plants that grow into the natural world and produce more with less. With this brief introduction, I request Rifat to share her screen and give this talk. And I just one request to all the participants: please keep your audio in the mute position so that we have no issue while streamlining this webinar. And I encourage all the students and the participants as well to please put your questions in the chat box, and we will take them at the end of the each talk, or if time permits, we can also have a discussion in the end once all the 3 speakers have discussed their research and their journey into science. With this brief introduction, Rifat, I request you to please share your screen and start your presentation. Thank you.
Uh, a very good afternoon to everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, Rifat, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Amit, for this wonderful introduction. I'll be speaking about, as this series is She Inspires, and half an hour before Pooja told me that we need to talk about inspiration, how our journey has been about pursuing science and career in science rather than talking about our research. So it has to be a journey about science, about experiences, to share our experiences, what difficulties we followed, and how we followed the path of research. So I'll begin with this slide. I want to begin that, for example, in our country, in India, there are 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002 has made education as a fundamental right for children in the age group of 6 to 14 years, and irrespective of the gender, whether it's a male child or female child, education is compulsory, and it has now a fundamental right. Before that, it was not a fundamental right. Now they can claim that it is their right to study. So education has is an important component of our life. And earlier, women were deprived of being education, because the boys or the man was supposed to be the bread earner, and he was given more stress. Girls were said, okay, they will go to the another house, and they are not supposed to be, it's not, we should not spend money on them and educate them. So that was the earlier thought. And now the things are changing, and parents are educating their daughters, uh, to give them education. And for example, since I will talk about my perspective rather than talking about the India, general or world, I will focus on my story or my place. There are many impediments in the Kashmir for the education of girls. As long as the education of girls is concerned, what I faced in my life from my childhood. For example, one thing we have is political instability. That is open. Everybody knows that we have on and off shutdowns, we have curfews, and this was the one of the challenges we face. And still you will find, Amit, and other participants, I would like to tell that still many Kashmiri girls and boys are shining, not only at the national level but at the global level also. So we are struggling. So this is one of the impediments. This is one of the hurdles, one of the biggest hurdles: political instability. Another issue is that due to the ignorance and poverty, most of the female folks which are living in far-flung areas, I'm not talking about the cities, I'm talking about the people who are living in far-flung areas, rural areas. They, ladies there, or the women, and as a result girls, they are dependent on their fathers. They cannot take their decision. I have to study, I have to pursue science, I have to pursue technology. No, 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 I want to get education, I want to get higher studies, I want to go for higher studies. Mostly they depend on males, not only for their survival but also for their decisions. And as a result, they have no knowledge of their rights and duties. They think, okay, this is my father, he is my caretaker, he will get me married, and then my husband, he will be solely my bread earner, and I am dependent on him, and then I will have a son, and then he will be my budape ka sahara and all. So the girls in the rural areas have lost. This is the result, that rural areas, the girls have also given up. They give up, and then mostly we see in schools the enrollment of girl students is higher. But as we go to the higher secondary to the college level, degree college level, the ratio of the girls drops drastically down. And that is the reason that girls do not, okay, even if I study, what will I do? Even then I have to get married and then have children and set up a family. And thirdly, another impediment, another problem in the Kashmir is, in particular, in India it is general, and in Kashmir it is particular, that there is lack of convenient girls' school. And in Kashmir, parents prefer to put their, girls in the girls' school. Co-education is not that much, welcomed in Kashmir, particularly rural areas, where most of our why rural areas are important, because most of the population stays in the rural areas only. Cities are not that much higher in number as much villages are. So these in these marginalized places, we don't have female teachers, we don't have hostels for girls, we don't have a good infrastructure, transport available for the girls. And that is also a big impediment, that is a big hurdle for the girl education, particularly girl education. Because parents, due to the religious reasons, due to the social reasons, parents do not want to prefer, they do not send their daughters for the schools where there is co-education, boys and girls study together. So that was one of the issues. Now, why I'm talking about this? Because I had the same problem, I had the same issue. My parents, my father wanted to put me in a co-education school where boys and girls studied together. My grandfather was against it. He said no, she's a girl, she cannot mingle with boys, and let us put her in a school which is exclusively meant for girls. So my father, he was an obedient son, and he sent me to a girls school, and which was I have studied in an Islamic school where there was a equal stress on science and Islamic teachings, Quran. So I have studied in that school, where both these things were going hand on hand, where it was said, okay, you have to learn your this world also and afterworld also. So my grandfather said, no, we have to put her in this school. So this mindset, even this mind, I'm talking about 30 years before, this mindset is today also in Kashmir. This mindset that girls need to have a separate school, we need to have separate school, separate female teachers for the girls, that mindset even still exists. So this was the one of the impediments, one of the challenges when I studied, when I was put into the school. And after schooling, when I come to the graduation, there was a lot of turmoil, and you cannot imagine. For months I used to stay at home, not only me, all the students. It was a shutdown and all. Then after graduation I wanted to study, and my father was very supportive. Whatever I am, I'm because of my father. My father had that vision, and he sent me to for MSc, for masters. He sent me to Delhi. And students here, I want to tell, if there are any students, I am told that there are students from the ninth standard. So science education is very important. Science education degree offers students opportunities to pursue wide range. For example, as compared to the arts, I'm not saying arts is not important and it does not offer anything apart from the other sciences, but apart from other disciplines, science education offers wide opportunities. And I did my bachelor's in science, and after that I went to Delhi to pursue my master's, and I had a support of my parents, although not many, in being from an orthodox family. And I was from a family which was very well off, so they said, Ki, why you are sending daughter outside to study? She is not going to be earn bread and butter. Why to send her this thing? But then my father supported me, and then he sent me to Delhi, and then I did my masters there. And while doing my masters at Delhi at Jamia Hamdaz, I mean, I want to share this this experience with you over here. It was the first time in my MSc that I saw microscope. I saw microscope in my masters, and I was like, okay, this is the microscope, okay. And then we used to do section cutting. I did my masters in botany, and then we used to do the section cutting and look at the tissues. Oh, this is the epidermis. Oh, okay, this is the the sclerenchyma looks like this. I was so much amazed. And it was during my MSc I started doing experiments. I started doing practicals, and it is during my MSc I realized that I want to go into the research field. Earlier, when I was in school, I used to observe at things. I was quite inquisitive. Kashmir is full of natural beauty, and I used to look at the flowing water, these mountains. I was too much, just mesmerized by the nature. And then when I did my MSc, I thought, no, I will focus on environment. I will focus on how things work. And I got my aim. Okay, I have to do research. And in my MSc, I thought, I decided that I will do PhD. But as we know, there are many fellowships right now. When I was in MSc, there was a fellowship that was CSIR fellowship, PhD fellowship, as well as for net lecturership. And right now you have many opportunities. For example, there is Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Funds fellowship to support the PhD study of postgraduate students. And there is Physical Research Laboratory Junior Research Fellowship, the fellowship which supports research in astronomy, astrophysics, physics, chemistry, physics and atmospheric sciences, solar physics, optical physics, and other related disciplines. And there is, of course, there is UGC, NET, JRF, there is CSIR, CSIR JRF. I qualified JRF by CSIR. Qualifying this JRF, it was not about money. It is about the confidence you get, that sense of achievement. That's very important. Okay, I can do it, and I will be supported. And when I got this PhD fellowship, CSIR fellowship, I pursued my PhD at IIT Delhi, Indian Institute of Technology. I did my PhD from IIT Delhi. Although many of my I have a big I belong to a family of many uncles and aunts, and interference from the relatives and extended relatives, and they were saying, okay, she had gone to do MSc masters, now why she is doing PhD, why she is going for so much higher studies, ko kya karna hai, ye kya ho raha hai. But then my father, and especially my parents, especially my father, they were supportive. No, let her chase her dreams. If she's very, if she wants to do, let her, give her opportunity. And they wanted to get me married. Ki nahi, 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 now you finish, you have done your masters. But then my father supported, and then he put my marriage on hold. And he said, fine, let her finish the PhD. During my PhD at IIT Delhi, I did research on phyto remediation. So what is phyto remediation? Phyto remediation is a process wherein plants take up the pollutants from the soil. They take up the pollutants from the water with the help of their roots, nutrients and water dissolved in the soil, into their system. They either accumulate or tile form, and as a result, when they take up with the help, they render the water or this soil clean. This is called green clean technology, wherein you clean the environment with the help of plants. You do not do any interference. It is a natural cleanup process. Of course, it has its own limitations. Phytoremediation can be used at those contaminated sites where pollution levels are moderate, where plants can grow. If the pollution levels are very high, plant will not grow. So there are moderate levels of pollution. We can grow plants, then plants automatically, they take up these heavy metals or other contaminants, and then either hyper accumulate them or you know render them harmless. So this is the study, this is the research which I did at IIT Delhi. I had amazing supervisor, Professor Satyavati Sharma. She was such a beautiful woman, such an honest woman. I can never forget her magnanimity. Such a nice lady she was, and she always taught me to be truthful. Her father was, she always used to say, she was from Jhansi actually, and professor at IIT Delhi. She always used to tell me that her father was a Gandhi. He had gone to the jail for Gandhi. With Gandhi, he was jailed, and he was follower of Gandhi. And then she said that always, I remember this thing, that always be truthful in research also, not only in personal relationships, not only with your friends, in research also. Be honest and be truthful, even if you will not get very high impact factor papers, but definitely you will take that satisfaction with you, that whatever I have done with full honesty, and there is no manipulation. This is my research, this is my outcome, and I own this. And I finished my PhD at IIT Delhi. Being an IITian is a completely different experience. I learned a lot. It was complete transformation. I belonging to I'm from Anantnag. From Anantnag, a militancy hit area, to IIT Delhi. This journey was beautiful, it was amazing, and it was only possible because my parents were with me. Even though there were, opposition from many people that, why she is studying for so long, she is getting older now, she has to get married. But then my parents were always supportive, they supported my efforts, and I also did not let them down. During my PhD, I spoke at many international conferences, presented my work, presented my papers, posters, and I spoke about at an NGO also, which will always will be me, because I was given the best speaker award the first time I was speaking at an NGO meet, and my Riffat, you talk, and then it was much appreciated, and they gave me a gift also. So it was a learning experience. I learned, I grew. I grew as a researcher. I grew as a learner. I call myself as a learner. I still learn. And after doing my PhD, then again I wanted to go abroad for postdoctorate, which my parents opposed tooth and nail. They were no, we will not let you go anywhere unless and until we get you married. We are not going to let you go anywhere, apply for. During my PhD, I got DARD, student exchange program. I got selected, but my parents said no, we are not let we don't want you to go abroad. You stay in India only, you stay in Delhi only. We will not let you go outside the Delhi also, because they feel that Delhi is near the Kashmir, we can reach in 1 hour. So they felt it like, oh, okay, no, we are not going to let you go anywhere. So they stopped me going for postdoctorate. I had to give up that fellowship, and I stayed. So I told them, okay, fine, but I will not come back Kashmir. I will pursue my postdoc at Delhi only. Then I worked at International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology under Professor Sopuri, and I got selected as a fast track young scientist. Even that fellowship is also available right now. Now there are many postdoctorate fellowships. That time fast track was supposed to be the very great grant at that time. And I got this fast track young scientist fellowship in 2006. I worked with I worked on genetic engineering. Now I wanted to go one step ahead. In my PhD, I had done assays, enzymatic assays, isolated enzymes, different isoforms, and then did the tissue culture. In my postdoctorate, I learned how to modify the plant, how to modify the plant. Let us say this is the golden. You might have read about the golden rice, the rice which has additional nutrients. The plant genetic system is modified. I don't want to go into the details of molecular biology, but it was my brush with the molecular biology at ICGB New Delhi and South Campus Delhi University, where I learned southern blotting, northern blotting, transformation, cloning. I worked day and night, and I had a great teacher, Professor M.V. Rajam. He was a very nice guy, a wonderful teacher, a down-to-earth teacher, and Professor Sopuri. And with the help of my great friends, I had a very good friend circle. Still we are in touch. We are still WhatsApp groups. And they used to help me, and then I learned these molecular biology techniques. But then I had such a pressure from my family to get married, and I had to give up this fast track young scientist fellowship in between, and I got married. And I was married to a person who was settled in UAE, Dubai. And it was such an I cannot tell you, I was feeling so much low. I thought that the career which I had built over the years has got, it was falling like, pack of cards, house of cards, it was falling. And believe me, I could not write a resignation letter, because I had to write, sir, I am leaving this fellowship, because I knew what I had done, so much struggle to get that fast track young fellowship. And then for the same, I was waiting. It took me 1 year to get that, because when you submit the research proposal, then they take their own time to approve. And it was an achievement for me to get that fast track young scientist project. And I had to leave that in between. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because I had to leave it, not only for something other reasons, failure, or I could not do the experiments. I was doing very wonderful. Then I had to stop my experiments and leave, write a resignation to the teacher and my mentor Professor Rajamir Sopuri, that I am leaving, I am going to Dubai because I have got married. So my career came at a halt. Am I audible? People are listening?
Yes, yes, Riffat,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Thanks, Amit. And I thought I'm talking to myself. I got emotional. So I had to leave. I had completed cloning. Then I had raised transgenics. After many infections, I had got transgenics. I did PCR, confirmed the transformants. Then I did Southern. After Southern, I had to do essays, and I would have got the paper. I resigned because I have to go with my husband. I mean, this is the society. He has not to leave, I have to leave. So I left my this career in between, and then I went to Dubai, and my career came at a complete halt. When I went there, then I started looking for the job. Dubai is a city, or UAE is a country where there is not much research institutes. I'm talking about 2007 and 2008. There were not, maybe there are now, but at that time there was not much. I went from institute to institute, but they were not doing research. They had not projects or this vision of doing this research. And ultimately I did their job. I landed up in Dubai municipality. I was a person who will not sit at home. I went to Dubai municipality, where I was selected, where I got, I gave a written test, I applied for the job, and I got selected as environment inspection and safety officer. It was an administrative job. Now, see, from a researcher, from those struggles, huge struggles during PhD and postdoc, I landed up doing a job where I had to approve the permits. I was working in a government organization where I'm making the reports, whether this is hazardous or whether this is non-hazardous, whether this, there are industries, they apply for the permits, where they have to dispose the water. They, in UAE, the company or the factory, they submit the report to municipality. We want to dispose of this waste. Now, it is the inspection officer who will make a report whether this waste has to go to the hazardous waste management, or whether this has to go to the non-hazardous. They have two separate places for treating hazardous waste and non-hazardous waste segregated. So I was in environment inspection safety officer, where I was deciding whether the waste is hazardous, whether the waste is non-hazardous, and I used to give the permits. And it was a from my husband's perspective, or from the perspective of the other people or other Indians who were working there. They were telling me, you're so lucky, you are working in a government organization, job was from 7:30 to 2:30, and wonderful package I had. But while sitting in my office, I was thinking, is this what I have done PhD for? Where I have landed? And I was not happy there. Even though I used to get a handsome salary, I had a government car also, but then I was not happy whatever is happening. And meanwhile, I had a son, and then I had a daughter. It was 4 years. I had complete, but then I used to apply for degree college or Kashmir University, and by luck I got a job at Kashmir University. I came back. I came back to Kashmir University and joined as an assistant professor, and it was so difficult. You know, after 4 years, 4.5 years of break, to again pick up, it is not easy. It is really not easy. Having two small kids, my son was 2 year old, my daughter was 6 months old. Having two small children and then joining the job, in India, in university system is completely different. When you are new to an institute or new to a university, you are an outsider. You have to learn, what they call as the system, To be a part of system, you have to learn how to behave. And I was new. I had a career. I was already a heartbroken person. I had always in that mind that complex I had. Oh, I lost 4 years. If I had not gap of these 4 years, what would I have done? Oh my God! If I had continued the fast track young scientist, I would have 2 publications. I would have 3 publications. Look, my friend, where is she now? Look, my friend, where is he in this now? Where I am. I was really depressed. And at the same time, coping up, coming from abroad, coping up with the family issues, small children, having no maid at home, and then new job, working with new people who do not know you, how to behave in a new system. I had not studied at Kashmir University. I had studied outside in Delhi. I did not know the system of Kashmir University, and it was a huge challenge. Believe me, I used to cry at nights while putting up my children to sleep. I used to study and then I used to cry. But then I knew my path. I knew my vision. I knew what I have to do. My goal was to set up a lab, to set up a working lab where I will start, where I will work as an independent researcher. And then what happened, that I was given a lot of workload. According to the UGC guidelines, University Grants Commission, assistant professor is supposed to have 16 hours of teaching per week. And I was given a lot of workload. I had no experience of teaching. So I used to study, I used to read, to deliver lectures. Students were new, I was new. Students were seeing a new teacher. I was also new to teaching. I was new to university teaching. I had never taken classes. I had that gap of 4 years of sitting at home. I mean, not sitting at home, but then working in a different capacity. But then slowly, my husband was very supportive. My husband supported me a lot. And then you told me, no, you have to do it, Riffat. This is what you wanted. Because you were not happy at Dubai also. And now it is your dream, you chase it. Now it is, it's you who has to make it up. And then I applied for different research grants. I got my first grant in 2012 from Department of Biotechnology, where I wrote a project on, they asked me I asked myself question while drafting a proposal, while starting up my lab. I thought, where shall I pick up? Then I looked outside, trust me, and it was winters. It was December. It was shivering cold. While walking in the campus, I saw some flowers. In winters, you will see, in winters there is no greenery in Kashmir except some plants which stay green. Everything is, autumn plants are naked, flowers, leaves, those have fallen in autumn. While walking, I saw flowers blooming. I stopped. I'm not a taxonomist. I cannot identify flowers or plants. I am admitting it. I'm not a taxonomist. You give me a plant and tell me what kind of a plant, what family is this, I cannot tell, because I was a plant molecular biologist. I was not a trained taxonomist. I took this flower to the taxonomist, that is a curator of our department. I told him, what is this flower? And it is growing in cold. I was shivering with cold. He told me, yes, this is Calendula of Sinalis. This is this is called Hamesha Bahar, means ye Hamesha Bahar mein rehta hai. Throughout the year it will flower. And I got inquisitive. What makes this flower to flower? What makes calendula to flower in the cold? And then I wrote a proposal on cold tolerance. I wrote a proposal how to make a cold susceptible plant a cold tolerant plant. I took this as an aim. And I wrote a project for DBT, and that project got sanctioned. They modified it. They told me, you're over ambitious, don't do this much work, do this much work only, you don't have a lab, Riffat. Do this much work and start your lab. And thanks to those good people, they saw my enthusiasm, and I got a proposal, I got a project sanctioned in 2012, and I started up a lab. I got PhD students. I had two. It had two positions, one GRF, one SRF, and I started doing transgenic transformation. I took tomato, and I took local cold tolerant plants. We started looking for the genes. We did proteomic investigation. Proteomics helps us to identify the proteins which are associated with the cold tolerance. Then I wrote another project about proteomics for cold tolerance, DST. And I was surprised that I got another project in another year, and I set up 2D proteomics facility. I got, meanwhile I applied for an, I was no I during my PhD and postdoctorate I had not done proteomics, but I was so keen to learn proteomics. I applied for INSA Young Scientist Fellowship Program, and because visiting scientist fellowship, I was given a fellowship. I went to Delhi for 3 months, and I worked at NIPGR, National Institute for Plant Genomic Research, with Professor Niranjan Chakravarti, where he had been a very nice mentor, and he taught me in his lab. I learned to do 2D proteomics, how to run the gels, and how to do analysis. Here, he was very much appreciative. He told me, look, Riffat, you are a faculty, but you are working with PhD students. I was working with MSc trainees. It was because of my thirst, because I knew I have lost those 4 years. I wanted to compensate, and I learned proteomics at NIPGR, and then I got project sanction for proteomics, and I started a proteomic facility at Kashmir University. And I think it is only our lab which is doing 2D proteomics in Kashmir University. It is only in our lab only. Then one of the students, she completed her PhD. In fact, another student, we modified the antioxidant pathway in the tomato. He also finished his PhD. And another student, what we are doing is, we are two plants, we are taking cold tolerant, cold susceptible, analyzing them, their QTLs, their particular traits, and then we are trying to develop a line which is cold tolerant maize. So that is one of the upcoming projects which I have. Meanwhile, I applied for Indo-US fellowship, and I got an Indo-US fellowship and got a chance to work as genome editing. It has been, research is a learning process. We learn every time. We should not stop learning. In my MSc, I learned to do tissue sectioning. When I look at my journey, when I look at my research path, I see, when I was at MSc, I saw my first microscope, and then I started doing spectrophotom QET. I started doing photometric analysis. Then during my PhD, I worked on phyto remediation, how to and tissue culture. In my postdoctorate, I did genetic modification, how to develop salt tolerant, drought tolerant plants by changing the genome expression, by overexpressing under three, CAM39 or stress inducible promoter. And then during my stint as a faculty, as an assistant professor, even after having a gap of 4 years, I learned proteomics. Even if I was a faculty, I worked with students, I worked with GRF students. I used to tell them, please, this is your day. They used to book the 2D. I used to tell them, I will also work. And then they used to really appreciate me, that being a faculty, you're working with us. They were telling me, your PhD students are very lucky, you are working for your PhD students. And after learning proteomics, then I learned CRISPR-Cas9 at US. I got a fellowship. I applied for it. I applied for many times I failed. It's not that I applied and I got it. I have failed 10 times, I have failed 20 times. I submitted 20 projects. Out of 20 projects, even one or two are getting financed. But then we don't stop. That does not stop me to work. That does not stop me to learn. We have to keep on. The Indo-US fellowship, I applied many times. I applied for Indo-US energy bioenergy crest fellowship. I applied for crest fellowship that was exclusively for J&K. Even I did not get that. But then I was heartbroken then. But no, that is not the way. I again picked up myself, again applied. I came back. keep on applying, I keep on working, I keep on writing projects, I keep on reading. And that is the success mantra. I think that is the way to go forward. Giving up is not the way. And this Indo-US fellowship, it has come up with a lot of struggle. I had to leave my family, my children, and of course it has been possible with the support, only with the support of my family, especially my husband. He has been very nice, very supportive, uh, mm, to tell me, okay, you apply, I will take care of the home, you go. I told him that it's very important for me to learn this CRISPR-Cas9, and I learned it at US, and then came back, took these Arabidopsis plants. You can see these. This was our lab, and these are my Arabidopsis plants at the US lab. This is a research group. He is Professor Clint, and he was the director there at the Department of Biochemistry. I presented my work there as uh, that is called I had go on under J visa fellowship, so it was under the foreign students or foreign scientists research conference was there. I spoke there, and I was appreciated there. My work was appreciated, and I did this CRISPR-Cas9 of these Arabidopsis plants, how to grow them. I took these seeds with me, brought them with me at the Department of Botany, University of Kashmir. And then I have a working group. We work on Arabidopsis, we work on maize, we work on tomato, and I have collaboration with ICGB, I have collaboration with Delhi University, I have collaboration with IIT Delhi, which has been my alma mater. And of course I have I am still collaborating, being an INYAS member. I applied for many fellowships, and I applied for INYAS membership. And then I got the fellowship, I got this membership, and I got very good great friends in INYAS, where and they are co-supervisors of my students also. I am working with them, and it has been a beautiful journey with many hurdles. But I think with persistence, perseverance, and positive attitude, and with a focused vision, a person overcomes all hurdles. Whatever we do, if we do with the sincere heart, sincere thoughts, and with a positive mindset, we are going to win. And that is my what I say. I'm nobody to advise, but yes, that is my experience to share with all of you. I'm sorry I had made all these slides in hurry. I was traveling. I was in Mumbai. My sister was not well, and she was sick. I was with her. I came today morning only, and I'm sorry I have not made good slides. With that, I thank you all. Thanks, Amit.
Rifat, first, thank you so much for such an inspiring story and sharing your science journey with us.
Thanks.
Well, I can't tell you how privileged I feel to be associated with you as an INIAS member,
Thanks, Amit.
and to know about your journey. I was not aware of the struggles you faced and the position where you are now. It's
Thanks.
amazing, and thank you so much for sharing your life story. And I see many questions put up in the group chat, and most of them are actually students who are just
Yes.
saying thank you for sharing your story. You have inspired us, and so
Thanks.
I'm very sure that your seminar today has will definitely will make a mark in the minds of the young researchers, especially girl students. And once they will remember your story, I am pretty sure they will every day they will feel excited,
Thank
not to give up so easily,
you.
and to
Thanks,
basically
Amit.
keep working hard like the way you just said.
Yeah.
And so with this, I will just take some questions which were put in the chat box before
Yes. Yes.
the next speaker.
Yes.
So,
Please.
Rifat, there is a question from Radhika, and she's saying, "What are your words of support for future generation of girls to pursue research?" So, if you want to have some, supporting words for
Yeah.
girl students to pursue research, if you can share with us. Though you have already said many times in your talk, but if you have some pointer points that you want to say, like particularly.
Yeah. What I believe, Amit, my personal experience is, for example, I said my father has been supportive, even though my uncles and aunt. My grandmother used to, oppose my education. What she is doing for 4 years in Delhi? What is she doing? But my father supported. You need to when you want to pursue something, there has to be no clash between your personal life and professional life. That is very important. You need to take person on board, even if it is husband, even if it is brother, or even it is father. We cannot say, oh, I'm a woman, I'm super, I can do anything. No. Gender equality does not mean clash between the two. It means going in coherence. For example, if I want to go for fellowship, or if I want to do something, I have to speak to my husband. I have to tell him. Or if I wanted to study, then I cried in front of my father, daddy please mujhe jaane do, please main पढ़ूंगी, डैडी प्लीज मैं यहाँ, मुझे यहाँ नहीं, वो नहीं. तो you have to take your family along with you, because that gives you emotional satisfaction also, that you are not doing something wrong. Because see, we at the end are, social animals. We have to live on, we don't live in, I want to be a big scientist, but without children, without husband, that is nothing. I call that a failure. The success is when you take your family and your career together. And
Yeah.
and plus being very positive. I tell you, Amit, I have submitted, you you also aware, I submitted 15 projects, all of them getting rejected for one reason or the other. But that does not I still submit the projects for financial support, because I need chemicals for, I need money for lab, I need chemical. So I keep on going from DST to DBT. I keep on doing this because I'm hopeful that one day I will get it.
Hmm.
We have to be hopeful. We have to be positive. And our labs are closed. Still we have so much political uncertainty. Our labs are closed for 1 month, 2 months. But that does not stop us working. We have to take it. I tell my students, we have to take it as a norm. For this abnormality is normal. Otherwise, we have to sit at home. So that is what I want to say.
Okay. And there is another question from one of the participants by the name Joel, and she says she is basically very inspired by your talk, and she also is stuck in Kashmir for the same reason of settling down in life.
Yeah.
And she wants to know what would be your suggestion for people like us. I'm a PhD from ICRI SAT and postdoc from RCB.
Mm-hmm.
What would the advice you will give us? And she, I think he or she must be going through that same phase as you went through,
Yeah.
and want to have some suggestions from you.
Yeah. I think one thing is stay positive. Look for, there are many fellowships. When I was doing research, there were limited fellowships. Right now, this world of opportunities, there are many international and national fellowships available. Apply for everything. Don't think I'm not eligible, I will not get it. Keep applying, keep applying, keep applying, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. That is the way.
Okay, and so most of the questions are related to these things only. And then there is a question from one of the students. She's saying, "I'm doing a PhD. Please tell me how will I start this journey, as I have nobody to help me." And so I think the idea, I think the question she is trying to pursue is like, if you don't have any role model, how to keep yourself positive and keep doing the things. So if you have any suggestions for them.
I think, see, when sometimes I also, feel demotivated, I browse the net, and then there are, today world is at your fingertips. You don't have to look for anything. You
Yep.
know, we can, look for the, people who inspire you a lot. I take my inspiration from many people around.
Hmm.
So we can, check on the internet and look for the people, get in touch with them. We have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great professional website, and there is ResearchGate. Get in touch. There are many good people who are always there to help. This world is full of good people. The only thing is to look for those, to get in touch with those.
Yeah.
There are people who will definitely help, who will definitely come forward and support.
Yeah, I agree with what Riffat said, and I also tell all the participants that if you don't know people, but you can always try to find a role model about by reading about them, or by searching them on internet, and look through their journey, and that gets you an inspiration. And as
Absolutely.
what Riffat said, you should not be disheartened by all these things that you don't have anybody or any support. But yes, finding a role model do help, and I suggest all the participants to look for such things. I think Rifat will take this last question, as most of the questions, as I told you, are basically people are just admiring you for giving such an inspiring talk
Thank
and
you. Thank you. I'm
motivating.
nobody. I'm nobody. Thank you so
So,
much. I'm humbled.
one
Thank you.
last question that I will take before we'll move to the next speaker. This is from Janvi Shah, and she's asking, "What did you learn from your partner, and what did he learn from you?"
My
Uh,
husband.
yeah, if you can answer.
Okay. My husband. I learned from him. My husband is. He's a complete family man. He has been very supportive. He understands me, and I too understand him. It's not that we always get mad at each other also, but then when I am angry, he keeps quiet and he listens. When he is angry, I will shut my mouth and I will listen to him. So I have that is the that is the I think that is the secret of my successful marriage. Like, we listen to each other, we sit down, and then we have promised each other that we will respect each other, and whatever happens between him and me, we are not going to share it with anybody. So we sort out our issues, we discuss with each other, we talk to each other, and then we understand each other, because we know that it is not his journey or my life, it is our life.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Rifat, once again. And I suggest you to also go through that group chat box where people have, got a lot of inspiration from you.
Thank
And
you.
if you want to answer them privately, you can also answer them. And
Thank
with this amazing start of day two, we'll move to the next speaker. And
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
yeah, thanks, Rifat. And
Thank
Rifat will be here only. So if there are any questions specific to her, you can always put it in the group
Sure,
chat box.
sure.
So for the next speaker that we have for today's webinar is Dr. Rishemjeet Kaur. She is currently working as a senior scientist at the CSIR Central Scientific Instruments Organization, CSIO, Chandigarh. Her research interests are in the area of artificial intelligence and studying human behavior in collective environments. Dr. Kaur has authored more than 30 publications to her credit in reputed journals such as Nature, Science, and many other reputed journals. And she is a Japanese government MEXT fellow and also a recipient of BRICS Young Scientist. With this brief introduction, I welcome Dr. Kaur and to um, uh, share her screen and as well as start her talk.
Hi, thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed, for the introduction. And thank you so much, Dr. Riffat. You have such an inspiring story. I mean, while you have a very unique journey, I'm sure it resonates with all of us somewhere. I mean, thank you so much for sharing it. I'm glad that I was here to hear your story. So now I'm going to share my screen. Is it visible to everyone?
Yeah, Dr. Kaur, we can see it. Yeah, please go ahead.
So I'm working at CSIO as a senior scientist. So I'll briefly talk about my research. And since I got to know that many high school kids have registered in this session, so I'll try to target them a bit and try to make a case that why they should pursue a career in STEM, what are the challenges and what are the opportunities that they get using my own personal experiences. So when I talk about my research, I work in the area of collective intelligence, which is mostly about studying human behavior in collective environment. Now, when I say collective, like, we humans, we live in a society, we do not work individually. Whatever decisions we take, however we behave, it is influenced by others in the society, and in the same way we also influence others. And yeah, either if we buy a product, we watch a movie, or the recommendations which are available online, everything is something which is influenced by others. And there are different aspects of this collective behavior that I study. One is like the simulation and modeling of human behavior, which is more or less in the mathematical terms, and then trying to use it for some to solve the mathematical problems. The another is like looking into the social media. Social media these days is where everybody puts up what they think, what they want to share. There are revolutions which are being started on social media, and it makes us such a good platform to study the human behavior. So I've been using social media to study the different aspects of human behavior, like why they spread fake news. Can we use social media to predict, let's say, elections? Can we understand the cultural similarities or dissimilarities using what people are posting on social media, and so on. And the next part of my research is using this collective decision making of humans in robotics. Like, if instead of like using one robot, if we use multiple robots, can we use that group decision making process and try to solve a real life practical application, which we tried to do it in an order source localization, and turned out it was really good. And there is another work which is more about how do we collect data from so many people across the world by the process of crowdsourcing and use it for different societal applications, such as COVID, like in agriculture, and so on. So with this, I will not talk into too much more technical details about my research. So I will more or less will talk about how I reached here and what are the factors that supported me, helped me. So the very first question that many people ask me, like, you always wanted to be a scientist? So the answer is big no. No, I had no clue. I was clueless. Someday I wanted to be an artist, and like, as every kid, I wanted to be a pilot and astronaut as well. And I come from a family where nobody is from a science background. Like, I was as clueless as my parents were, the sweetheart of my parents. My mother is a housewife. My father is a businessman who runs a shop. So when this, the big question comes after 10 standard, which subjects you want to choose? Medical, non-medical, commerce or arts. So my parents, like, India mein to sabko engineer doctor banna hai, so they said you have very good marks in science and everything, why don't you take this? I thought chalo try karte hain, because I had no clue what I wanted to do. So I went into the medical classes. The very first day of biology, I realized this was not my cup of tea. I cannot do this. I think within 2 days, I decided not to pursue this. And within 2 weeks, I convinced my parents that this is not what I'm going to do. In fact, I was so scared that I joined the accounts and, the commerce classes. And my parents, being very patient, they bear with me. They let me do it for the 2 months of my provisional classes, and then they decided that after that ended, then my parents again sort of put a hold, and then they said, okay, wait, it's good that you want to do this, but try, like, you got such good marks in mathematics, you have such good temperament in science, and we see the potential in you. I was not confident of myself, but my parents were. And they said, no, at least try, go and try and learn physics, chemistry, mathematics. And since they were not from the science background, they took me to the different people who were, made me talk to them. And I don't know, somewhere what neurons fired in my brain that I listened to them, and I joined my maths, physics and chemistry classes. I chose non-medical, and I'm very thankful for that. So like, I did my like the whole process that we take. There used to be IEEE, IIT exams and whatnot, and then I joined Thapar University for my bachelor's in electronic and instrumentation engineering. Now, if I talk about the challenges which I faced, they were not really scientific. Like, it may sound very trivial, but the challenges which I faced, it was more about, I coming from a school which was a Punjab School Education Board. I was not very fluent in English. That was the first challenge. Like, it's not that if you cannot speak a language, you have to question your ability, your intelligence. But when you're not able to put your points across, and whatever it is, like, everybody, we know that the world around us, that we have to speak in English. So that was the first challenge that I faced there, which I had to overcome by reading books and newspapers, watching movies, lots of Hollywood movies and Friends and whatnot. So, and after that, like, after my engineering, I joined my master's at ACSIR CSIO. And this is a research lab now, right? So this was the place which first exposed me to the ideas of research, exposed me to a research environment. I loved I loved studying there. Like during my 2 years of masters, I did so many research projects, asked so many questions which I generally probably would not have asked or done. And I had the fellowship, I had everything, and I thought, okay, this is what. And that's where my research journey specifically, though of course I was an engineer, but this is where my more research and the scientific journey started. And as one thing leads to another, so after doing my masters and my PhD, like during my PhD, I applied for a Japanese government fellowship, Mambusho fellowship, and I got selected for it, and I went to Nagoya University, Japan. So in Japan, the lab where I worked, I got wonderful people to work with, wonderful collaborators, and that place not just exposed me to the research. Well, yes, that was a cutting edge research which I got to do there. It also exposed me to the different cultures, to a more international exposure. So if I talk about my educational journey, this is where it is, like, you know, from a school in Ludhiana to the Nagoya University in Japan, which is associated with like 6 Nobel Prize winners, and it was like full of ups and downs, but I had many people to support me, especially my family, to do that. Saying, like, you know, opportunities, you have to create it for yourself. You have to grab the opportunity. So one thing leads to another. So my this journey with invited talks with the like a moment there by represent, also got a great opportunity to connect with people, especially the female scientists, and hear their stories and getting more inspiration from them. So I mean, I remember like when I was applying for the BRICS Young Scientist, I almost did not apply. I thought maybe I won't get it, so maybe I should not apply. But remember one thing: when you do not apply, just it means you're just rejecting yourself. I mean, not just by the fear of getting rejection from others, आप उससे पहले ही आप खुद को reject कर देते हो, which is not right. Which is something जो आपको और under confident करता है. Be persistent. Second failure, third failure, and then somewhere down the line, you will also get a lot of acceptance. You will get fulfill your dreams and get what you want to do. So after this, like, now I would like to talk a bit about why young kids, why females, they should pursue a career in STEM. Now, as we know STEM, sometimes it is a little, scary. So one thing, I think the best reason that I could think of to join STEM is just the love of science. If you love to, if you want to love, if you would like to explore the mysteries of universe, or even if you want to work on the latest technologies, the place where you get to innovate every day, where you are forced to think critically, or simply if you want to build like a tallest building or a highest bridge in the world, then STEM is a place for you. STEM professionals are everywhere in the world. They are microbiologists, they are astronauts, they are scientists. So you should definitely pursue this career. Then another important reason is that you can make an impact. Now, I think in these days of COVID, we don't need too much to elaborate on this, that how scientists, researchers can make an impact while we are waiting desperately for the vaccine, successful treatments. And with STEM, you have like so many opportunities, so many doors open up for you, be it with the clean energy, with the technologies in agriculture, or discovering, the cures for life-threatening diseases. So like when I talk about impact, so during my scientific journey, I had a lot of opportunities to work with different industries, opportunities to work in different government projects. And during this you realize that how meaningful your work can be. For example, in one of the project in which I worked with my group and team, it was with the ittar making industry in Kannauj. Now Kannauj is known as the perfume city of India, and the way they make the whole thing, it is almost 5,000 years old, and it is more of an art than a science. I mean, it's beautiful to go there and see, like, everybody in Kannauj is involved somewhere in the perfume making process. Koi phool tod raha hai, koi uga raha hai, koi distillation kar raha hai. So this project that I worked in involved in the developing data loggers, data acquisition systems for this project. So it was do I say, such a satisfying process to get to know that your work is going at the grassroots level, जहाँ पे इतने सालों से कोई technology नहीं है, कोई automation नहीं है, even a small thing that you do, it paves the way to something bigger in the future. And then so on, I worked with many other companies, for example, Nanopix in Karnataka, जिसमें वो cashew के ऊपर काम करते हैं. We helped them. Then I worked on the device with my colleagues to measure to estimate the oil quality, where my colleague came up with this process, जिसमें जो regular process लगता था half an hour, they could do it in 30 seconds, which in itself was an achievement. And along with the industry impact, there is a lot of academic impact that you get to make while pursuing a career in STEM. For example, during this time of COVID, now the things have changed so much. About को understand भी करना है COVID को, but it's a unique situation. You cannot reach the participant, you cannot reach the people. So how could we use the today's technology, such as internet, social media, crowdsourcing, to understand that? So what we did, we were trying to understand the relationship between COVID and the loss of smell and taste. And we worked with a group of like 500 or 600 scientists across the world, from every university in the world almost, I can say, to collect the data. And we could do it for the 35,000 more than 35,000 participants online. And we were the first ones, like CSIO, I can proudly say, was among the first institutes in India, long before even the ICMR and the other institute accepted loss of smell and taste as a primary marker. We set up the relationship and we made a case for this. And during this, like, even if you want to do it, you can still go and take the test in this link which I have shared on my screen. And during this, I was also made the chair of like the GCCR, which is the consortium along which we made. I was made the first chair of their GCCR SST committee because of all the hard work that I put in there, which was recognized by everybody there. And when we talk about the impact, there is another impact in terms of the society, like how you give it back to the society, right? Like which we generally do in the way of training students, especially female students. We do by conducting workshops or conferences and imparting technical skills to the students. Like, I remember this one of my student. She joined as an apprentice with me. So intelligent, very intelligent kid, but very underconfident, and maybe somehow was not very much interested to learn, just joined because it was an opportunity for her. I could see the potential in her. So when I was teaching her how to code, how to program, I would give her assignments. I would push her that no, तुम्हें ये करना है. She would come, internet से देखे copy paste करके ले आएगी, and then okay, ये कर दिया. And when you ask questions, she didn't know because she didn't pay. Not that she's not intelligent, but she did not make any effort to understand this. And when you, और जब आप उसको डांटोगे, she got a little pissed कि नहीं, because we are girls, we are raised in an environment where we are princes, कोई कुछ नहीं कहता, we can do what we want to do, and in our families, parents के साथ हम पापा की दुलारियां होती हैं. So अब किसी ने डांट दिया, you cannot tolerate that. So that girl, she was so pissed that she decided to quit, and she came to me with her resignation कि मुझे नहीं करना. I said, okay, you want to resign? Sure, please do resign, but when you get a better opportunity. So meanwhile, थोड़ी देर मुझे कुछ महीने और झेल लो. You will see why I am teaching you all this, why I am taking this route with you. Now, just a few days ago, I got a call from her, a very emotional call saying that, thank you, ma'am. And she got placed in a very good place as a data scientist. And she's very happy and getting a lot of money at that job as well, saying that what you taught me has really helped me in reaching here. So this is the kind of the impact that you get to create by teaching your students. And this is how we sort of give back to the society by training them. So I would definitely recommend that if you want such kind of satisfaction, such kind of pleasure, you should definitely join, you should definitely pursue a career in as a research, as a scientist, or as an academician, as a teacher. So if this does not convince you, then one of the biggest reasons that I could think of to join as a STEM professional is that STEM, it creates jobs. I mean, just think about it. In maybe, I don't know, 70s or 80s, has anyone thought about there would be a job like an app developer? नो राइट, किसको पता था कि सोशल मीडिया भी होगा, कहीं पे हमारे पास हमारे हाथ में एक मोबाइल फोन आ जाएगा जो हमारे हाथ में इतनी ज्यादा कॉम्पिटिशनल पावर दे देगा, इट विल गिव अस नॉलेज व्हाटएवर वी नीड. So the STEM professionals, they mostly get they mostly get high paying jobs. They make more salaries than the other workers, almost twice as much as the non-STEM workers. So and this is going to be there for likely for the next decade and many more years to come. It's going to be in great demand. So I think you should, if anybody wants a good salary, they should definitely pursue a career in STEM. Then the next reason which I could think of, kuch nahi, if you love exploring world, if you love traveling, then you should definitely do science and research. During this, be it by the ways of, by attending conferences or the talks or workshops or pursuing your fellowships, you get to explore world, you get to explore beautiful places. And along with that, you get to meet a whole lot of beautiful people. You get to experience different cultures, and this opens you up to the new ideas, and which also helps you grow as a researcher, which also helps you grow in your professional life. I remember, it gives you courage to do a lot of things that otherwise you may not really think of. I remember I went for skiing. I mean, I still do not know how to ski, to be honest. I mean, it was a beautiful location in Japan where the Winter Olympics took place. I still don't know how to ski, but I know how to, get up from every possible position after falling down for 50 times on. So I would dare to explore, come that probably men do not face. They may have their own different set of challenges, but some of the challenges that we face, like marriage, as Dr. Riffat very told her story about it, and many of us resonate with that. So and the same happened with me. I did my bachelor's, and I was doing my bachelor's actually, and then my parents thought that maybe, okay, bachelor's खत्म कर लो, then 1 year job, and then you can get married. Then okay, chalo, ab karni hai many. Then it's educated. How will this happen? But anyhow, they supported me. I was lucky. I have a very supportive family, and I'm also married. I have a very supportive spouse who is also a scientist and understand the challenges which which I face. The another important challenge in my life. So many a times you will come across these kind of decisions, where you have to choose one of those. Sometimes it's just not possible to do both, right? So in that case, just remember, whatever you do, whatever your circumstances were, whatever decision you take, you took, it was the right one. Do not regret. आपको opportunities भी और मिलेंगी दोनों में, अपने work में भी, अपनी personal life में भी. Just do not feel guilty about it perfect. अगर mistakes that you make. And what you will get from your family who's looking at you in many ways, even when they'll support you. And like I do agree, like being females, there are certain social expectations. But while I would say this is very challenging, it is the whole journey. It is also very rewarding because आप इतनी मेहनत करके पहुंचते हो that you are very confident of yourself, and you are sure that nothing can stop you, and that's an amazing sort of a feeling there. So like yeah, and couple of things which I have realized really being a female is the negative stereotypes which are associated. For example, with STEM, yeah, अगर कोई ज़्यादा लड़का पढ़ा कोई will call them nerd, right? चश्मिश है. So this really discouraged the kids from pursuing the career, which should not be the case. And if I talk about girls, we expect them to, you know, कि वो एक particular ढांचे में ही है. Like girls are bad at maths, they are very bad in driving. ना बहुत सारे negative stereotypes and which discourage them. So it should not be there, but whatever it is, we have to face it and we have to move forward. Then the another thing that we always talk about is like the skewed ratio of females in STEM. I have went for an interview, they are not like the director of your institute is a guy, the principal is a guy, the
Rishmit, was there any issue?
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Yeah, there was a power cut. I'm so sorry.
it's okay. Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
I think I was just talking. I did not even realize कि कहाँ पर वो बंद हुआ. I'm so sorry.
You were on this particular slide only. You were talking about the lack of
Yeah.
role models. Yeah, please.
So I was saying that you know, if there are no role models that you find locally, look at all of these women who part India's Mars mission, or Dr. Gagan Deepkang, who was the first fellow to be elected for the Royal Society, Kalpana Chawla, or the women who recently got Nobel Prize in Chemistry. There are so many inspiring stories around you. Nationally, internationally, you should look at them, you should get inspired from them and continue your journey, thinking that if they can do this, then you can also do this, right? अगर वो कर सकते हैं तो आप भी क्यों नहीं, और मैं भी क्यों नहीं, हम सब क्यों नहीं कर सकते. So with this I would say that there are many opportunities which are available. These are just few of the fellowships which I have put up on my slides. Now the opportunities are available right for the female students when they are in schools, to the, you know, to the PhDs, postdocs, and the early career researchers. So whatever opportunity you get, try to get the maximum, try to utilize it to the best. So कुछ भी आपको मिल रही है पीछे नहीं हटना, just keep on, be persistent, be relentless to it. So this is where I think I will end my presentation. These are some of the, like, my female colleagues, friends who have helped me, who have worked with me, inspired me, supported me in one way or the other throughout my journey. And this is where I will end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishemjeet, for such a lovely and exciting talk. And and also for telling all the participants about your own journey into science and how you decided, just to follow your and create your own career path. And I completely resonates one of few of the things that you mentioned in terms of having a very supportive family, and your spouse, and because at the end of the day, they should be on board with you when you are pursuing your dreams in STEM. And I'm sure many young audience who are here with us have got inspiration from you, and thank you for sharing some of the opportunities that you said that which are available, which many students don't know. And I'm pretty sure they will try to find out some of these things which can help them to continue their studies. And I really like the part where you mentioned that one has to keep trying, you have to keep creating your own niches and your own opportunities. Never give up, because if you don't apply for certain things, you will never know the outcome. And even if you get failed or not selected for any particular fellowships or grants or any prestigious award or something, but at least you have given you've given your shot. And and failure is not always the end, it's just a starting point to improve yourself. And I completely agree with the things that you mentioned. And so I have a couple of questions in the chat box. And so many of these students, especially I see in the chat box, many young students from class ninth, and they are saying that they resonates with some of the things which you have mentioned. And they would also like to follow similar kind of journey which you have gone through. And so there is one student, Priyanka Devi, she says, ma'am, my story from school to non-med is somewhat like yours. So that is thanks, Priyanka, for this. And now there is a question from Shaurya, and he or she is saying, can coding be learned in class 9, or can we work on it as a career from class 9th? I think she wants to know about the coding, if you want to say something.
Yeah. So, hi Priyanka. Definitely, I think you can learn coding at any level that you want to. Coding is not just about, learning a particular programming language, learning a particular syntax. It is also about learning how to have an analytical ability. जब आप code करते हो ना, आप चीजों को एक structure में करते हो कि पहले step 1 होगा, उससे आप step 2 करोगे, then you will go to step 3. So you need to have a logical and analytical mind for that. So yes, so my answer is yes, you can learn coding at any time. And if you want, I can actually, please be in contact with me. I'll share, there are many resources, and I'm actually very enthusiastic to teach young kids coding. I'll share those resources with you. Unfortunately, I did not put it in my slides today, but yes, please do it.
Sure, I encourage the participants to contact Dr. Kaur. She's at CSIO lab in Chandigarh, and you can find her email address over there, and she will be more than happy to answer your queries. Dr. Kaur, I just wanted to know, like, so as you mentioned that while your parents were pressurizing you at every step of you, like when you're moving from one degree to the another, to settle down in life and have a family. So what kept you going, and like how you used to handle such questions, and how you used to find your way, like what advice you would give to students who are facing similar kind of things in their career right now, like a pressure from the family to get married and settle down, versus they want to still pursue higher studies. Like if you want to give some inputs.
Yeah, so I think the very first thing is that you have to be persistent, and you somehow have to show your passion towards it. And if your parents see that, that this is what that you really want to do, at some point they will also support you, and they will also agree with you that okay, this is something that makes her happy, so isko karne dena chahiye ye cheez. And another thing which really I think make a difference is आई डोंट नो, मतलब मैंने हर चीज ट्राई करी, उनको कभी इमोशनल ब्लैकमेल करना, कभी लड़ना, every possible way, whatever I could find, whichever I thought कि शायद मेरे पेरेंट्स के साथ वर्क कर जाएगा, अपने भाई को कन्विंस करके, यूजिंग ब्रिंगिंग इन माय आंट और अंकल कि शायद मेरी बात नहीं सुन रहे, उनकी बात सुन लेंगे, ब्रिंगिंग इन माय कजन कि शायद उसने जॉब करी है तो वो मुझे भी उसको देख के शायद दे लेट मी डू इट. So whatever resources, whatever support you can get from your friends, from anyone in the society, you just latch on to that. उसको मत छोड़िए. Try to convince your parents in every possible way. Tantrums throw करने पड़े, tactics करने पड़े. You have to do that. And I think they see through it. They're your parents after all. They understand you.
Okay. Well, I see a lot of questions from students. I think mostly from school students asking how we can do the coding. And as Dr. Rishemjeet said, that you can contact her and she will be more than happy to help you with your queries.
Yeah.
So
And also like tell them that there are many resources online which are available. Like there are for kids, there's coding for women. There are many platforms, many blog posts. So it has actually become very easy to learn coding these days because of the availability of huge material online there. But yes, I can also help you in figuring out and the resources which I have. I'll share that.
And so I just wanted to ask you in general, like if you have any, I'm pretty sure there are some senior colleagues here also. I wanted to ask, did you had any, any experience to share while you were looking for faculty position? As we know that there is such a skewed, in ratio in terms of female researchers versus male when we come to the faculty level of the, these academic ladder. So was there any challenges did you faced, and or it was not so a difficult journey for you, or if you want to share some on those things, and how did you overcome those things, and like how did you decided that I'm going to apply in at whatever lab that you are in, and finding a faculty position, how much easy or difficult was it for you?
I would say it was rather relatively easy for me in the sense that I applied for a position at CSIO at the first go and I got it. I did not apply for many other places. So I did not go through that phase where, you keep on applying and then you get rejections. And then, so I was lucky in that sense. But in general, I would say that, whenever I went for the interviews, let's say even for the interviews for the fellowships. So along with the technical part, of course, they expect you to be aware of everything, to have a vision and whatnot. They also ask you questions like, as I was talking about marriage. So I remember when I went for my Japanese government fellowship interview. So in the HR part, they asked me like, abhi to aapki shaadi nahi hui hai. So if we will give you this fellowship and maybe after a year or so, you will say कि मुझे तो शादी करनी है and I'm going back, you will quit. We will rather give it to someone who can take advantage of this opportunity. है ना, हम किसी लड़के को दे सकते हैं या फिर लड़की जो और भी ज़्यादा young है शायद अभी नहीं शादी करना चाहती है. I was really pissed at them, to be honest. But at the same time, I realized it was the reality. Females, they do drop out. They go for the fellowship and then they drop out because they have to because of whatever, the societal pressure or their own wish, they get married and then they come back. But I think at that time they could see through my passion, my ambition to pursue it, and they got convinced that no, I'm not going to drop out, and I did not. And I convinced them how even if I got married during that period, it's not going to affect my research or my career. Then my husband can come and join me. I will not marry anyone. And as I'm saying, I got lucky in that sense that my husband, my spouse is also very supportive of my career.
Thank you so much once again from all of us for sharing your story and also inspiring us. We hope that you will join us for some of the future webinars that we are planning to organize, and we'll look forward to have more interactions with you. And as you mentioned, the students can definitely contact her and seek her guidance in whatever possible way you want. And
Yes.
with this, again, thanks, Dr. Rishemjeet Kaur. And now we'll move to the final talk of today, which is by Dr. Neha Khatri. Again, she's from CSIR lab, CSIO Chandigarh. She's working as a senior scientist in the Department of Optical Devices and Systems. Dr. Khatri did her BTech in Mechanical Engineering, then MTech in Advanced Instrumentation Engineering, and PhD in Optomechanical Instrumentation. She has more than 9 years of experience and has contributed immensely for various projects of national importance. Her major contributions include development of precision super smooth silicon mirrors for X-ray lithography, synchrotron for focusing of X-ray rays, precision optical elements and assemblies of avionics see-through display, aircraft exterior navigation and taxi lights for aircraft variants, and low vision aid for elderly and nearly blind patients, and development of precision instrumentation towards whole slide digital microscopy for high throughput analysis in biomedical imaging. Her research outcome has been acknowledged through high impact publications, technology transfers, as well as international collaborations with reputed research groups. She is also a BRICS Young Scientist Award Fellow and have won many best paper awards in various international conferences for her contribution in developing ultra precision machine protocols and validation platform for avionic display devices. With this introduction, uh, I welcome Dr. Khatri to share her slides and start the talk. Yeah. Dr. Khatri, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Amit, for the introduction. My slides are visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Is it full screen?
It's still not in full screen. Now
Okay.
it is in full screen mode, yes.
Okay. A very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank INYAS CSR Vigyan Jyoti for providing me an opportunity to share my views on this platform. So, as already introduced by Dr. Amit, briefly I would like to introduce tell about myself. Presently, I'm working as a senior scientist at the Department of Optical Devices and Systems and Central Scientific Instrument Organization, Chandigarh. And I joined CSIO in the year 2012 as a scientist. And before that, I worked here I was a quick hire scientist fellow from 2010 to 2012. So before that, I did my MTech in advanced instrumentation, and I'm basically a mechanical engineer, which normally girls don't opt for this. And my field of specialization is optomechanical instrumentation. And my broad research domain is like optical system design and fabrication of optical modules for soft X-rays, infrared optical elements, and molecular dynamic simulation based modeling, and machining of precision optics by improving the finish and the figure accuracies in nanometric range with optical metrology on smart materials and precision engineering. I'm also associated as an assistant professor in Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research for postgraduate and doctoral academic activities. I'm also involved as a faculty member in Indo-Swiss Training Center for taking diploma courses for the MTech for the mechanical students. So my research is basically in the optical instrumentation, and since my specialization is optomechanical instrumentation, I'm very fortunate that I'm associated with a very broad range of the electromagnetic spectrum for the development of optical instrumentation, like ranging from X-rays to visible to infrared range. So for X-rays, I have been associated with design and development of very precise silicon mirrors for focusing of X-rays for a synchrotron beamline. And for the visible, I've been associated with design and development of very high power adapters, aspheric lenses for the person who are nearly blind, like visually impaired persons. And also associated with the development of plastic lenses for the see-through displays and taxi and landing reflectors for the aircraft. For infrared, I have been associated with design and development of precision diffractive optical elements for thermal cameras, for hotspot detection, for beam steering optics, NDR, laser rods, and also precision components for the infrared search and tracks. Uh, um, Very recently, I'm involved with the design and development of the safety goggles to combat COVID-19. As we all are aware that COVID-19 is highly infectious virus which is transmitted through the droplet released in the air by coughing as well as the sneezing. So the current threat has brought the need and significance of like PPEs to protect the healthcare service providers, patients, and visitors from accidentally getting infected. So the conjunctiva membrane present in the eye, which is located inside the eyelid, which is basically to lubricate the eyeball, is the only exposed mucous membrane of the body. So when the eyes are normally opened, the conjunctiva membrane is also exposed, but it is often overlooked entrance for the virus. Hence, the protection membrane of the eye as well as the nose and mouth by using the goggle is very essential. So I have designed and developed these safety impact and liquid splash goggles with a sturdy polycarbonate lens. And these goggles, they covers the eyes and the surrounding areas and also accommodates the prescription glasses. So the quality compliant with the NC American national standards is specified here, and the technology is transferred to the industry for commercialization. Here are the some pics and the mechanical design. These are designed and developed at CSIO by me and my team. And this is the goggles which are basically used to protect the eye entrance of the virus through the eye. So this is the brief introduction of the work which I have my research work. Now coming to the women in science, what are the challenges and the opportunities? So if I talk about women in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, they all are regarded as critical to the national economy. So expanding and developing of the STEM workforce is a very critical issue for government, industries, as well as the industries as well as the government. So science, technology, engineering, and math education basically translates into wide variety of STEM occupation in the world. So the statistics says that there are about 8 million science, technology, engineering, and mathematics job, ranging from software developer as well as programmer to civil and mechanical engineer. So, since the STEM is growing in occupational option, the number of women in this career is often overlooked, resulting in a large gender gap. So, the statistics says that though the women they account for 39% of the jobs globally, but they account only for 28% of STEM positions, and very few in the leadership roles at around 12.2%. So it has been speculated that this gap comes to the traditional gender roles enforced by a woman from a young age, which consist of a general push away from more scientific careers. So the statistic of the woman and the STEM degree is very vital in understanding that how industry look and how women are presented in them. So if we talk about biological and social science, the women make up around 54% of the bachelor degree and 57% of the doctorate degree. If we talk about computer science, the gender gap is much larger. The women make just 18% of the bachelor degree and 13% of the master's degree and only 20% of the doctorate degree. Now, in engineering, the women make up only 20% of the bachelor's and 25% of the master's and 23% of the doctorate degree. So, engineering has the smallest amount of the women in most STEM education fields. So, in mathematics, we see more women, like 42% with a bachelor mathematics degree and 44% for master's maths degree being held by the women. But these areas also still lack a good balance of the women in the doctor's program, where only 28% of the math degrees go to the women. Now, physical science is another area where the degree program has a larger gender gap, with 19% of the bachelor's degree, 22% of the master's degree, and 19% of the doctor's degree in physical science go to the women. A very small percentage that leads to even smaller instances of the women in the workforce post graduations. So these low numbers of women in STEM education major directly translates to STEM careers. So only 15% of the direct science and engineering jobs are held by women in the country, and a huge gender gap that translates directly to the type of research and skills that are found inside these occupations. So, as the research says that the girls' achievements, women's achievements and interest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is mostly shaped by the social and the environmental factors. So, so the question arises like why so few women are there in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So there are the three main factors which basically leads to the less women in the in STEM. The first is basically the mindset. That is the fixed mindset. So individuals with a fixed mindset, they are normally susceptible to a loss of confidence when they encounter challenges because they believe that if they are truly smart, things will come easily to them. But if they have to work hard at something, they tend to question their ability and they normally lose the confidence. That is, that they are likely to give up because they believe they are not good at that task and because their intelligence is fixed and will never be good at it. So that is what a fixed mindset says. But an individual or a girl with a growth mindset, on other hand, shows a far greater belief in the power of efforts and in the face of difficulty their confidence actually grows because they believe that they are learning and they are getting smarter as a result of challenging themselves. So, the research says that in STEM, a growth mindset normally benefits the girl. So, it is very important for all the girls and women to have a growth mindset in order to achieve more and more confidence and to learn and get better. So how, if we want to differentiate between the performance of a growth fixed mindset and a growth mindset, we can say that a mindset is basically the intelligence is static, whereas in the growth mindset, the intelligence can be developed. So fixed mindset normally leads to desire to look smart and therefore has a tendency to avoid challenges, to give up easily due to the obstacles, and see efforts as fruitless, ignore useful feedback, and be threatened by other success. Whereas a growth mindset leads to desire to learn and therefore has a tendency to embrace challenges, to persist despite obstacles, to see efforts as part of mastery, to learn from criticism, and to be inspired by other success. So, as a result, the growth mindset normally, with a growth mindset, we reach a very high level of achievement and also a greater sense of a free will. This is one of the major factors which influence the girls in STEM. Another is a stereotype threat. So, one of the stereotype threat basically arises in the situation when a person fears that her performance will be evaluated based on a negative stereotype. So, the negative stereotype about women and girls' ability in STEM persists despite considerable gain in the last few decades. So, there's a famous saying by Joshua Aronson that girls do every bit as well as in their grade work as boys do. But girls lose confidence as they advance through the gates and will start to do more poorly than boys on the time tested despite getting good grades. So one reason is that the loss of confidence is the stereotyping that kids are exposed to in school as well as even at home that portrays that the boys are innately gifted in mathematics. So without denying the fact that the boys have more biological advantage, I think that psychology plays a big role here. So, a large body of experimental research has found that a negative stereotype definitely affects the girl's performance as well as the aspiration in STEM. The two stereotypes which are prevalent are basically the girls are not as good as boys in mathematics, and scientific work is better suited to boys and men. So, Even female students who strongly identify with maths, who think that they are good at mathematics and being good in maths is important to them, are susceptible to effects. So stereotype threat can be felt both psychologically as well as physiologically responses, which may result in a impaired performance. So negative stereotypes about girls and women in maths and science adversely affect their performance. So eliminating these stereotype threats would definitely eliminate two-thirds of the gender gap in the STEM. Then a third most important thing is the spatial skills. A cognitive skill with one of the largest and the most persistent gender gap where consistently boys outperform the girls. Now, spatial skills, they are very important for success in the field like engineering. These spatial skills, they are not innate, they are not natural, they are not by born. They can improve dramatically in short time with the training. So, having good spatial skills can help encourage girls to pursue their interest in science and maths and keep women in engineering. So, spatial skills are very important for creating confidence in one's ability to succeed in mathematics and science courses and ultimately in STEM career, because special skills are needed. Basically, it helps to interpret the diagrams and drawings in mathematics as early as elementary school. So the answer of why so few women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is all around us. The answers lies in our perceptions and unconscious belief about gender in mathematics and science. The social and environmental factors at work, in the home, at school, and in the workplace basically act as a barrier to girls and women performance and also participation in science, technology, engineering, and maths field. So my few recommendation to the young girls as well as the women for cultivating achievement and interest in science and engineering is basically the passion, dedication, and self-improvement, not simply innate talent, but are the road to the achievements as well as the contribution. The special skills are not innate, they are not natural, but they can be developed by with time and with practice and use of hand-and models when possible. Rather than computer models, we should try to visualize and get a clear picture of the actual mechanisms. Now, coming to the scenario of the woman in STEM, present scenario. It has been observed that the scenario of the women in STEM, it has changed with the time. The concept of treating women as equal to the male counterpart, it becomes a topic of the political debate in Europe during the Age of Enlightenment in the 18th century. The battle towards the equal right, it took approximately 100 years to win and went till 19th century. So it was around 1902 to 1920 that the women got equal rights in prominent Western countries, followed by the others. So if we ask like who are the greatest scientists of all the time, so the big names normally come to our mind are like Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, and which are for a good reasons. So these scientists made remarkable discovery and changed how we understand the world. So science is normally considered as a male-dominated field, but some female scientists, they broke the boundaries and made important discoveries. So there are certain women in science who changed the world. Marie Curie, a physicist and a chemist, she did a pioneering work in the field of radioactivity. She discovered radium and polonium, defining their atomic weights and their place in the periodic table. She became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. After her first win in physics, she later earned an award in chemistry, making her the first person to have been awarded twice. Janaki Amal, a botanist, as India's first female plant scientist, she developed several hybrid species still grown today. She also advocated for protecting the biodiversity of India. The other woman who in science who changed the world was Katherine Johnson, a mathematician. Johnson's calculation of orbital mechanics as a NASA employee were critical to sending the first Americans into the space. She became famous when her story was profiled into the movie Hidden Figures. Rosalind Franklin, a chemist, is known for her revolutionary work in discovering the double helix structure of DNA. She passed away 4 years before her male colleagues were awarded with the Nobel Prize in 1962. Some believe that even if Franklin had lived, she likely would have been snubbed by the committee. Kalpana Chawla, an Indian American astronaut, was the first Indian woman in space and second Indian person to fly in space following cosmonaut Rakesh Sharma. She traveled over 10.4 million miles in 252 orbits of the Earth, logging more than 372 hours in a space. Another Indian American astronaut, Sunita Williams, a US Navy officer who holds the record for the longest space flight by the woman of 195 days. She also holds the record for the number of the spacewalks and even space time for a female. She participated in one of the remarkable study of producing energy in space. She ran around 26.2 miles Boston Marathon on the International Space Station, producing 962 kilojoules of energy. So these women has been a role model for the young girls as well as the women in STEM. So there are many opportunities for the women in science in the, if we talk about the Indian scenario, like DST Women Scientist Scheme is there, in which women scientists are being encouraged to pursue research in frontier areas of science and engineering on problem of societal relevance and to take up SNT based internship followed by self-employment. Another very interesting scheme is by Indo-US Fellowship for Women in STEM, specifically to provide opportunity to Indian women scientists, engineers, and technologists to undertake international collaborative research in premier institutions in US to enhance their research capability and capacities. Now, apart from this, there are some opportunities for school-going students as well as the for masters and bachelor students, like AICTE Pragati Scholarship for Girls. Under this scholarship program, a total of 4,000 girls students studying in the first year of technical diploma or degree course at an AICTE recognized institution will receive financial aid to continue their education. Begum Hazrat Mahal National Fellowship. This scholarship offers financial assistance to the minority community girl student studying in class 9 to 12. Postgraduate Indira Gandhi Scholarship for Single Girl Child. UGC has initiated this scholarship for girl students who are the only girl child in their family, and it is meant to support postgraduate studies of the student. Apart from this, there are other fellowships like L'Oreal India for a Young Women in Science Scholarship. This scholarship aims to support young women to pursue higher education in science stream. The girl student who have passed 12th from science stream with at least 80%, 85% marks can apply for this scholarship. Rossius Unnati Scholarship for Women Engineering Students. This supports those meritorious girl students who are studying an engineering degree program at an institution recognized by AICT. Dr. Reddy Foundation Success Scholarship. This is meant to support girl students coming from a rural and a low socioeconomic background to help them to get access to quality education in some of the India best science institution for their undergraduate study. So I would like to conclude by saying that a famous saying by Mahatma Gandhi that when a man is educated, an individual is educated, but when a woman is educated, a family and a country are educated. So break the barrier and rule the sky. After Marie Curie, Sunita Williams, it can be you. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha, for such a nice talk and for going through your own scientific pursuit that you are currently doing at CSIO. Very interesting research work and very of people-oriented research, as well as highlighting the issues women face in STEM, as well as enlightening our audience the available different fellowship schemes that they can try at in order to pursue their passion and keep their keep themselves engaged in STEM. And so with this, I would like to now ask you a few questions that were there in the chat box, and some of the questions which I could thought of while you were giving this address. So my first question to you is, when you were, as you started your talk very nicely by saying that it was kind of a very unusual for a female to be opting for mechanical engineering. So I
Yes.
would like to ask you, how was it taken by your family and your friends when you told them you don't want to be a doctor, or you want to be a mechanical engineer? What was their take on it, and was there any struggle? Did you had to really pursue them, or that is what you want to do, or was it very straightforward? And I would like to take your your thoughts on that, and how you decided to still keep yourself in mechanical engineering. Because I have not seen many, as you rightly said, there are not many female women in basically in mechanical engineering. So I would like to have some of your things.
Yeah, sure. Actually, it was not so easy for me to go for the mechanical engineering. It was not like that ki I always dreamed of being a mechanical engineer, but my ambition was to be an engineer. So after my 12th, when I was selected for the engineering exam, so during the counseling, like my father, he accompanied me, and so I was not at all interested in computer science. He insisted me to pursue computer science as your first option, and after that you can put electronics and communication as the second option, because these are the field in which normally girls go for bachelor's degree. So I was like, no, Baba, I will not go for computer science because my coding part and that part is not so good. So because I opted for computer science in 11th and 12th. So I studied C and C++. So I was not so interested in that. So he told, no, you have to go for this. Actually, it was very difficult for me to convince him. But during the counseling, like I didn't mention first option as a computer science. So I opted for electronics and communication, and my second option was like mechanical. So in that, and my father, I was, I lost my mother when I was very small, like I was 10 years old. So it was, my father was very reluctant for me to go outside the city and pursue my education. So anyhow, I belong to Kanpur, so I have to study there itself. So finally I got a very good college in Kanpur itself, and with mechanical as a branch. So my father, he gave the condition like after first year we get the option for branch change. So you have to go for that. You have to change that. So that was the condition. Like those who top in the first year, they only get the branch change option. So I topped in the first year, then I got a branch change option, but then too I didn't change the branch. I told my father that I have developed my interest in mechanical because I can see the machines, how they are working. I don't know what happening inside the electronic circuit and all. So I tried to convince him. It was very difficult. But I tried to convince him, and now he is very happy that I chose this field. So yeah.
Yeah, well, we are also proud of you that you stick to your your passion, and you decided not to change your views even under different circumstances. And I'm really glad that I had a chance to interact with you and have a speaker in this area. Especially, it's very difficult to.
Thank you so much.
I'm pretty sure many females students and researchers who are there in the participant list here will really get inspired by looking at your journey. So one more question that I have, that I was looking into the chat box, one of the students has asked is like, I'm very much interested in mechanical engineering, and since many girls don't opt for it, do projects or work are minimized for girls in that field?
Okay. No, it's see, it's not like that. It entirely depends upon your dedication as well as the interest. So if you are willing for mechanical engineering, and there are many opportunities for girls also, but you have to stick to your goals and dedication. If you yourself will not stick to that, then nobody else can help you in that. So be confined to your goals and try to achieve them. So no hurdles will come if you are determined in your goals.
So I'm gonna ask you the same question that I asked the previous speaker. Like, how easy was it when you actually started looking for job in the job market when you put it up your application? As you rightly said that there are not many females who pursue this area of science. So how was
Yeah.
it like when you started applying for jobs? How was it taken? Was it a struggle? And if you want to share some of your experiences, that will be really helpful for some of the students and researchers who are there in this in today's seminar.
Okay. Actually, immediately after my bachelor's, like I was not interested in a private job. I was always interested in some research, like carrying higher studies. So I was selected for MTech in ACSIR. So that was not like in first go I was selected here. So I did my master's from ACSIR itself, and after my master's I was selected as a scientist at two places. Like I got a call from another institute also, but I opted CSIO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you so much for your time today. We really look forward
Thank you.
to you again in some of our future webinars. And
Sure.
sure many students must have got excited about seeing a mechanical engineer, that to a female. As I was very excited to know about you as well.
Yeah, actually the ratio is very less. Like when I was doing my bachelor, so the ratio was like 1:10. In 60 candidates, like 6 girls were there. So that ratio was too high that time. I don't know what's the current scenario.
Yeah. Well, we have some senior colleagues here, Dr. Harish Sardana, who is Chief Scientist at CSIR, CSIO, as well
Yes.
as Professor Kia Dharamveer. And if they would like to give some suggestions to our participants or would like to enlighten us with their thoughts on how to keep encouraging females scientists, students to keep themselves engaged in STEM and not to get deterrent by, as some of the issues Dr. Neha put it out, like the stereotype threats and other things. And if they can give us some of their insight, that will be very nice for the audience here. If Dr. Kia Dharamveer and Dr. Sardana, if you can hear us.
Yeah, let Dr. Kia. She's already put.
Yes, yeah. So we have answered her query, and we'll definitely, as INYAS, will definitely look forward to organize such things. And this event itself was organized by INYAS member Pooja, and it was a brilliant idea. And you can see how much we are learning. And thanks to Pooja for taking care, for organizing this initiative. And in future, we do look forward to organize many of such events. And as Dr. Dharamveer said, we'll try to organize mentorship program, which we do already have, and we have mentored during this COVID time some of these students, irrespective of their gender, and so we know that there is more work need to be done, and we'll definitely follow up on that.
Yeah, ma'am. Well, still we'll like to hear from her first, and then I would add few things if she has
Sure.
said what she had.
Yeah.
We have heard, we know her very well, and we respect a lot. She works on a lot of gender issues also. We heard her, and I think this is the right forum for her to have few words from her first.
Sure. Dr. Dharamveer, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And first of all, congratulations to INYAS for arranging such a beautiful session. My only regret is there are not too many students, not too many people to take advantage. But I hope you have recorded it. And if you wish, we will host it on our NGO's website.
Yeah, ma'am, we have recorded this. Pooja has already recorded this session, and we have a YouTube channel, and all the talks from today's, tomorrow's, and even yesterday's session will be hosted on that channel.
Wonderful. So I urge you to put it on the CRIC network,
Okay.
and on your own, of course.
Sure.
I missed the most of the first lecture, but this one was also very nice. And what impresses me that these girls are working in various diverse fields, and we need to go out to girls from lesser places, semi-urban areas, uh, who needs more exposure, and it is the right time for INYAS members, the ladies themselves, to go out to various schools, government schools and other schools in these smaller places, and kind of showcase their work and bring out the opportunities that are associated with STEM fields, not just doctors, nurses, and so on. So that's all I have to say.
Yep, ma'am, we'll plan. We have similar kind of plans, and I think with people like you on board with us, I think all these things are achievable. Thank you for your kind words. And Dr. Sadhana, if you would like to add something.
Yeah, my wish is now merely to spread this excellence as much as possible. And I heard Professor Kia also reminding us of rural areas and other areas. So now we know the excellence is proven. Now there are no doubts that the equality is existing. Even the nature has no differentiation. It's just the biological differences. That's all. Given the opportunity, both genders can perform, as good as each other. Now the only issue is that this, as a society, we try to spread this. So my wish is only that we may, like for example, you already started mentoring them. A number of students are already here, and I felt more than a decade has already passed in bringing these gender equality to this level. So now is time to spread it, to really have it all over the country, at all levels of developments, be it rural or urban. So we just need to remove those barriers. So that's my wish, that whatever we have done, we have proven. Now it is just on a large scale. And such opportunities, encouragements which Neha brought in also indicate that there are special schemes available. And there was one question, I think, some PhD scholar also wanted. I believe there are, well, Neha would have answered. Is Neha there? There was some question that PhD scholars also looking forward to special, but there are women schemes, I believe. So yeah, that's what my position is. I indicated some views yesterday also, that we now need not have just participation, but have all presence of women in all fields. So no more reservation kind of situation now. We can have women all over on their own, coming forward in all fields. That's the dream. Probably it's not so distant now. We believe that this initiative like CSIO-INYAS is almost in that direction, and things are not too far. So good luck for such initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So somehow due to internet connectivity, we lost Dr. Amit. And thank you all the speakers for very motivating and wonderful talks. Since yesterday, we are listening to very inspiring stories, some good suggestions, like from Dr. Ranjana and Dr. Aparna Akula, then Mehak. Today, we listened a very interesting story from Dr. Riffat, then Rishemjeet and Neha. And the key message is to stick to your passion. Like if you have come to this field, you entered into this field, and you have to stick to this field. That is what is important, to be there. And this is not for you, this is for the science actually, and science is going to benefit out of it, and finally the society. So this is, I think, the some takeaway messages from these webinar sessions which are going on. And for the benefit of the participants, we are recording all this session, and this will be placed on INYAS YouTube channel. I also thank Amit for nicely coordinating this session. Generally, for such kind of session, mainly females are only there. So, but we took this initiative, and we are happy that INYAS is a platform where such kind of things are possible. So, I thank Amit for coordinating this session. Amit, you want to say something? Yeah, Amit.
Yeah. Sorry for the issue. Actually, I was disconnected. Well, again, thank you everybody who joined today, and I hope that all of you must have got some inspiration and motivation from today's speaker and hearing their stories, and how to still, besides all the struggles that these speakers have faced, they have continued their passion and have worked towards excellence. And I'm sure that you will get motivated, and as Dr. Kia Dharamveer said and Dr. Sadhana mentioned, that we need to continue these kind of activities, and as INYAS members will try to keep coming up with such stories, and keep engaging students, and maybe also start a mentorship program. And once again, thank you, Pooja, for initiating this webinar. It is really very nice, and I learned a lot, and it was really inspiring for me even. And maybe in future would like to hear your story as well, maybe in some of the future webinars. And with this, I would just request all the current participants to turn on their camera so that we can have a group picture that we can post on social media, and as well as popularize these series for the upcoming session. So also I encourage all the participants to join us for tomorrow's session. Again, we will be having 3 speakers, and you will hear their inspiring stories. One of them is a mathematician, Dr. Sugandha, another is Dr. Nazia, and I think third one is Dr. Bakchi from CSIO. So please do join us tomorrow, and you will learn a lot from them as well. So if you can turn on your cameras one last time, so that we can have a group picture, and Pooja will take care of that thing.
Request all participants to switch on their camera, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amit, it's done from my side.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much once again for joining, and we hope to see you tomorrow at the same time. And thank you so much again for your time. Yeah. Thanks, Pooja, and thanks to all the speakers.
For joining.
Yeah. Thanks all the speakers as well.
Thank you, Professor Kia, for joining. Thank you, Dr. Sardana.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sardana.